Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim page 62, which discusses a very fascinating story, a tragic story, in which Rav Tarfon was unfortunately falsely accused of committing a crime of stealing. There is a law, that is discussed here, that once a person starts removing the knives that are used for cutting and harvesting, and they put them away, they fold them up, they're not going to use them anymore, which means they're not really going to be gathering up any of these figs or fruits. The law is then those fruits are considered to be ownerless because the owners obviously are not interested in them anymore because they're done with that process of harvesting. At that point, a person could go into those fields and take those fruits because they're completely ownerless and you're not stealing. You're not doing anything wrong. And that's exactly what Rav Tarfon did. Rav Tarfon went to a field and he rightfully took some of these fruits. And unfortunately for him, there was the owner that throughout all the year, there was someone that was stealing from his crops. Someone was sneaking into his field and they were eating all of his fruits and all of his crops. And he finally caught him, or at least so he thought. He didn't know this was the great, amazing scholar, Reb Tarfon. He thought he was a crook, this guy that he finally caught. So the Talmud here tells us that he was such a vigilante that he stuck Rav Tarfon into a bag and he started dragging the bag all tied up so he couldn't get out. And he was going to take the bag with Rabbi Tarfon in it and throw him into the river, basically to kill him, to drown him. This is the attitude he had. And because of this, Rav Tarfon got so nervous and scared, he knew that his life was moments from ending. So he said, speaking about himself, he said, "Woe is it to Tarfon that I'm going to be killed in this way." And this man overheard it, and he realized that this couldn't have been a crook. It was obviously a misunderstanding. Obviously, this person wasn't doing anything wrong, and the person who stole is not the guy in this bag. He was so humiliated that he was embarrassing Rav Tarfon, actually accusing him of being the crook and almost killing him, that he just left the bag be. And then eventually Rav Tarfon was able to get out without having to encounter the owner of the field. And this alone just tells you how much knowledge even the simple, or maybe not such simple, owner of a field, even someone who was going to murder someone, you have no right to kill someone, take him to court for stealing from you, but he was going to kill him. But as soon as he heard this great rabbi, all of a sudden he stopped. It shows the high level of respect in those generations, and we should only dream of this generation that there should be such respect, not just for rabbis, but for those individuals who dedicate their life to education, to improving the world, to making positive contributions. So he left him right there. And interestingly enough, it says that Rav Tarfon was so distraught over the situation. Why? What did he do wrong? So he said, the reality is, I misused the gift that I have. The fact that I have Torah knowledge does not give me a right to misuse it and to end up trying to get benefits because of who I am and the reputation that I have as a scholar. And in fact, he said that a person who misuses the Torah is really deserving of a very severe punishment. And because of this, it bothered him his whole life. And on this, the Talmud says, well, the truth is that he really should have been able to do it, especially to save his life. And the Talmud answers that Rav Tarfon actually was a very wealthy person. He had a lot of money. And what he could have done was, instead of divulging that he was the great Rav Tarfon to get out because of his being a scholar, he should have instead bribed him and said, "Get me out of this bag and I will give you an absorbent amount of money. I will give you tons and tons of money." And through that bribe, this man, who obviously he cared about money because he was upset that his field was being, people were eating from his crop, that would have been enough. But we see from here that when it comes to a person, even as great as Rav Tarfon, he would not misuse the knowledge that he had, and therefore he felt bad even misusing his title, even for something in which perhaps was what saved his life.